Here we have my old John Deere 332 diesel tractor, and ever since I got it, nighttime mowing in the fall has not been fun. Its lights are pretty dim. It uses these 1156 bulbs, which are kind of dim. It does use 3 inside of here, and the best I could do was try to put a brighter bulb with a similar base inside of it. And I took a couple of before pictures because I don't know how it's going to turn out. But given the cost of higher powered LED bulbs that'll fit within that base, it's almost just as cheap to buy one of these. So here we have Lightbar. This is a 12-inch Lightbar. It measures, I believe, less than 14, which is the room that I have within this housing. It's almost perfect. I do not really want to have it exposed. I don't mind the vintage of the tractor either, but I think I'd rather just have it hidden behind the lens if possible. I obviously can't put it down here anywhere. I have to access the front drive of this engine so I can put on my blade or my snowblower for the winter time. And also right now it's still equipped with a mower because I'm still mulching up these fall leaves for a little while yet. So I'm really going to try to see what happens and mount this thing behind the front of this housing. I'm going to have to start probably by pulling the hood off, and as much as I don't want to, I'm going to have to cut into what's already there. So there's really no going back after this, not easily. We're just going to go for it. I was not happy with the LED replacement bulbs. If anything, they were dimmer and glitchy, not super high quality ones, just something I tried out and instantly went back to the originals. So we'll see. This one should be far brighter, and for $40, I'll see if it actually performs. I've never taken this tractor apart before, so this is interesting. There it is. There's the underside. So yeah, this would have been a little bit too complex to try to take apart these pieces. It made more sense just to do what I did. Take these off from the bottom. There's the headlight housing. Looks like it's grafted right into this thing. Probably 2 pieces glued together from the factory. These are those crappy LEDs. They suck. They're gonna go away forever. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with them. This is the whole harness. These bulb sockets you can find online. If you look at General Motors, usually taillight bulb sockets, somewhere down that line you'll see they're exactly the same. I thought about maybe buying some of them just to play with, to try to make my own LEDs, and then it started getting complicated and even more expensive, and then maybe rewiring it, but they would still fit within these light housings. And then I decided on the Lightbar. So hopefully this isn't a mistake and I don't hack this thing up for nothing. because once I cut this apart, it's not going to be great to try to put something back in there. So I'm hopeful. I'm thinking there appears to be some kind of metal hooks here I got to dig into, if they even do anything as far as holding this on, or if this truly is just bonded as one assembly. And if that's the case, then I'll just be hacking away at it with the saw blade, or maybe have to grab my multi-tool. I think that'll be a nicer way of cutting this back and hopefully leaving enough material that I can somehow attach that light bar in here securely. So here it is on the bench, flipped over. These are the brackets I was talking about. They're up out of the way enough for me not to have to mess with them. Here's the light harness again. And that's going to get set aside. I'll have to probably cut back the pigtail and then adapt the light bar to it, which is here. As you can see, I looked at a lot of different light bars, and I thought this one seemed to fit the dimensions best of what I had for space allowed. It's almost perfect. So hopefully we can get it in there. Let me set this aside again. And after looking at this, there's these metal tabs on each side, one here and one over here. And it appears that they're holding this clear lens in place. I'm going to take these off, set those aside. And it was holding this thing back, so if we push it forward, I'm hoping, oh, there it goes. Yes, okay. I don't want to break this thing. It's probably like $100 from John Deere or something. So there is this lens, a little bit scratched up, but it's old. It's an old tractor. Maybe I'll even clean that up while I got it apart. It's even labeled top, so you know how to put it back on. This is out of the way. I definitely don't want to break that. That's going way over in a safe place. And just as I thought, this is glued into it. I don't see any way that this is going to be unbolted, unscrewed. Here are the lenses. That one has a crack in it. A little crack. How about that? Okay, well, I don't feel quite as bad cutting it apart. But that's what my next step is going to be. I'm going to have to get my multi-tool out. I think that's going to be the best approach to cutting this out and starting the fitment of that LED light bar. Need a bigger workbench. I don't do stuff like this. Alright, so I'm thinking top and bottom stays intact, and I'm going to try to flush cut along the top and bottom of this reflector and then see if that light will slip in here. One thing that I noted is it appears to have been originally bonded down here on the corner, but it's, the glue has given up, so it's loose on this side, and Yeah, that side as well. I am going to end up losing this whole bottom part when I cut this. The only thing holding the front of this together, this whole clip here, is the housing itself. So I'm gonna have to, if I want it to look stock, I guess I'll have to get all this in place and then put the lens in, and then maybe I can attach the lens to this. There won't be as much weight on it, and it'd be more like just cosmetic. But maybe when that lens goes back in and is attached to the side here with a bracket, I'll be able to attach this to the lens. I don't know, just an observation. Here it is. There we go. So that snapped in. If I was to glue this back together now and put it in and put it back on the tractor, you wouldn't even, without looking through here, you wouldn't even be able to tell. From the outside, it would look just the same. So that's promising. And now, hopefully there's more than enough clearance. Now when I pop this light bar in here, yeah, see, this does have just a slight curve to it, but I think leaving enough material in here to keep it kind of rigid and something to bond to, that straight across is probably my best bet. I couldn't have really gone any further forward on that, or I would have compromised the strength and how this lens fits within this hood body. So this is where I'm going to stop cutting. This is where I'm going to leave it. That's pretty good for an eyeball, side to side. So yeah, anybody that's looking to do something similar to this, this 12-inch, I'll even throw a tape on it. Yeah, let's get a tape measure out. So across the hood, outside, there's roughly 15 inches. So on the inside, maximum, like if you could squeeze it in here, the inside of this guy, we got 14 1/4, I would say. If you were to cut all the way back on this lip, which is not what I wanted to do, I want to leave a little bit more material. And they call this a 12-inch light bar. Overall, it is 13 3/4. And the lens portion is 12. So there you go. 12-inch light bar, almost 14 overall. Yeah, 14 1/4. So if you're looking for one to fit inside of this housing, that's the size you have to work with. Oh yeah, and also, I guess equally as important, this one is 1 7/8 inches. If you could find one slimmer, then I guess you could probably get away with not having to cut the bottom out. You could do the first step, what I did, and like I wanted to do, and leave pretty much this whole thing in place except cut the back out, and you could squeeze it between both layers. I mean, assuming yours isn't broke like mine is on the ends here, where I'll probably try to reglue it. I've got some decent composite glues laying around from doing other body work that I'm hoping I can maybe bond and clamp this into place. How long will it last? I don't know. This diesel shakes like crazy, so it'll probably break, within a year or whatever. But yeah, that would actually be even better. I would say, since it's cut apart, it's even easier to measure. It would, if you want to get one to fit between here, I mean, it would have to be no bigger than 1.5 inches. That is about maxed out between within the light housing itself. It'd actually kind of be cool, but hard to cut, but to even leave some of this arch in here. And if you found one that was, extra narrow, you could cut back just enough that it would sit up against those stops, and that would keep all this intact and kind of give it something to push it up against. This one's not super deep. Most of them, I would say, I mean, this is a pretty standard size one, but it's 1.5 inches deep as well. So, but I'm happy with it so far. I'm gonna keep going on it.